Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Walk and Talk, the dog training podcast you can listen to whilst you're out putting grass underneath your dog for a little bit of motivation, inspiration, and hopefully some useful information when it comes to living your very best life with your dog. Now, I'm just going to dive straight into it today because we're going to do something a little bit different and I really hope you enjoy it. But basically, over the summer just gone, I'm aware that across various channels, I have been talking about fulfillment and enrichment and breed specific needs quite heavily. And something that always comes up across all of these topics is scent work or nose work or sniffy walks or whatever you want to call it. The promotion of your dog not only being allowed to use their nose, but actually being encouraged to, because it's so good for them. It's so good for you too, if you get it right. So I thought this week, rather than just broadly saying, do scent work or let your dog stop and sniff things, which everyone else has said 1,000 times, right? It might be really useful to do a little deep dive into all things nose work, how it works, why it works, how to get started at a really basic beginner's level with some fun games and specific exercises, as well as a little 7-day action plan for those of you who are actually genuinely really interested in getting into scent work more formally and what that might look like and exactly how you can do that. Now, I'll just say at the top, in case you're panicking, thinking, oh yeah, actually, I'm really interested in learning how to properly train this stuff, but shit, I'm out in the park with my dog right now and I don't have a pen and I'm never going to remember all the things. Don't worry, fear not, because I'm going to drop a completely free, downloadable 7-day Kickstarter checklist in the show notes as a PDF with everything on it that you can download and print out when you get home. So for now, feel free to relax, just listen, enjoy, and see if scent work might be for you. And if by the end you feel a little bit excited to get started, go to the show notes, download the free PDF. All your notes will be on there. You don't even have to give me your email address or anything. It's literally right there. You can just download it and you can crack straight on and you can hopefully have some fun with it. So, okay, why scent work? Why do I want to give a whole episode just to this one thing? Well, I think I know that if I told you there was a way to tire your dog's brain, meet their needs, and fulfill their deepest instincts, reduce their stress, build beautiful focus without an hour of heel work or a rucksack full of tennis balls, you'd want to know more about that, right? And that is what I am hoping that this week's science-backed step-by-step 7-day plan to help you kickstart your scent work journey at home is going to give you. So listen along, print the PDF when you get home, give it a go. By the end of next week, I'll wager you have a dog who is calmer, more satisfied, and genuinely a little bit proud of themselves because you finally let them do the thing dogs were built to do, and that is sniff. So, like I said at the top of the episode, if you've heard me talk about fulfillment, enrichment, brain games, all that stuff before, you've heard me say it. Sniffing is the secret sauce. And today we're going to go deep. The brain science of smell, which breeds are really scent driven and why. And I'm going to share some super easy games that you can literally play today. Plus, I will give you that simple 7-day plan to introduce formal scent work safely and successfully at home. So, why does smell matter so much for our dogs? Well, dogs are basically built like little olfactory athletes, right? Compared with humans, their brains devote a far, far larger proportion to processing smell. The olfactory bulb, the brain's like smell hub, if you like, is about 40 times larger in dogs than it is in humans. And that is why scent is so emotionally powerful and cognitively demanding for them as well. Smell talks directly to memory and emotion pathways. So for dogs, sniffing can be soothing, it can be focusing, and it can be incredibly rewarding. When dogs sniff, they're not just breathing, they literally sample odor with these rapid little sniffs, like 5 sniffs per second, right? Which creates airflow patterns that pull scent into the olfactory recesses really efficiently. And those clever little side slits that you see on their nostrils let the exhaled air push new odor molecules forward. So each sniff is like a whole fresh little data burst for them to process. It's literally like rapid fire, high resolution scanning, which I think when you think of it like that, it's far easier for us to understand how sniffing for dogs truly is quite intense brain work. It's mental exercise because it's like attention, memory, and problem solving all in one hit. Now, when I was doing research for this episode, I came across the most fun little study that basically concluded that when pet dogs practiced nose work over a couple of weeks, they showed a more optimistic judgment bias compared with dogs who were doing heel work, which is basically science speak for um, sniffing just made them feel better about life, okay? And is a good indicator that if you do have a nervous dog or a reactive dog, introducing them to scent work as an activity might actually be beneficial, not only as a form of exercise and mental fulfillment, but it might actually result in more far reaching behavioral benefits too. And while sniffing might be more accessible, let's say, to some breeds more than others, scent hounds like beagles or bloodhounds, gun dogs like springers and labs, and many pastoral breeds are absolutely driven by it, thrive on it. Whereas on the flip side, there are some brachycephalic breeds can have anatomical limitations that affect airflow and olfactory function, right? Because they have the shorter snouts. That doesn't mean that we can't give it a go with our bulldogs or our Frenchies. We can simply adjust our expectations and adjust our setups accordingly, because I maintain that we absolutely can and should let them sniff. Oh, hello, Alexa. I don't know if you just heard Alexa pop off. She's got something to say. We absolutely can and should let them sniff in ways that feels good and safe for all the benefits I've already mentioned. So, if you're still here at this point, I'm guessing you're interested in giving this a go with your dog. And if that's the case, here are some super simple, quick win setups that you and your dog can get started with straight away. Okay, so number one, the sniffy scatter. So easy. In the garden or on a snaffle mat, simply scatter your dog's dinner or some treats and say, go find it. You can start really easily, just chuck it all down in one spot, and you can gradually widen the area, or you can use longer grass, or you can start throwing it across the shrubbery and the borders. Once you see them get the hang of it, if your dog literally looks at you like you've gone mad, just chuck it all down in one place and give the command. They're like, okay, well, there's the food, I'm going to eat it. Then widen it, then broaden it, then add challenge to it. Gradually build them up. Some dogs, they'll just get it straight away. You can just throw it out across your lawn and they're like, yes, game on. Other dogs might take a bit of a build up, but it's a great way to introduce the concept to them. Okay. Number two, Box Boulevard. It's a fun little setup you can try with just some of your old Amazon delivery boxes. We've all got hundreds, haven't we? Simply grab yourself 3 or 4 cardboard boxes and put a treat in one of them. Shuffle them around and then release your dog to search. When it looks like they've found it, or they've just indicated like a really strong preference for one box, they're kind of obsessing over it, remember to reward them with a treat from your hand and pay them that treat right at the box that they've chosen, right at the source, to anchor the value of that treat you're giving them to the thing that they've found and the location they found it. Okay. The good old towel burrito is another one. You literally just take some treats, roll them up in a towel so they can have a good sniff at it, and they kind of have to sniff and nudge at it to unroll it. I mean, you can buy specific like mats and cleverly designed things for this, but you can literally just achieve the same goal with one of your old towels. So you don't have to spend any money to give this a go. Number 4, you can do some simple cup lineups. It's a bit like the row of boxes, the row of Amazon boxes. Just line up your 3 cups, have 1 hot, so that's 1 with the food under it, and 2 cold. So you're going to leave those ones completely empty. Let your dog sniff and make their choice. Then reveal it to them and celebrate. Let them have the win. And lastly, one I've talked about plenty of times before on previous episodes on Instagram, whatever, sniffari walks, which are just quite simply purposefully slow permission to sniff walks. Give them the time to stop with absolutely no pressure whatsoever to hurry past anything. And you are far more likely to see calmer behavior after that walk. And it's far more friendly on the joints than just, rushing your way to the field and throwing the ball for half an hour straight. Although, to be fair, whilst we're just talking about fetch, I just want to say, please don't think I'm the fun police. I do play fetch with my dogs. Fetch has its place. Of course it does. But relying on constant, high intensity, repetitive ball chasing can risk micro trauma to joints and soft tissues or bigger injuries, especially with those ball launchers, and especially if you're doing it on hard ground. Vets and arthritis specialists, they constantly warning against overdoing this kind of thing, and they probably know more about it than I do, physically and medically speaking. Whereas with scent work, on the flip side, you get that kind of tired in a good way effect without the repetitive impact and the arousal spikes that can sometimes accompany hardcore fetch. Okay, so that's our light-hearted fun ways to explore scent work with your dog. But if you're genuinely interested in getting a little bit more serious about it, this is the section of this episode for you. So we'll borrow the structure from popular sport scent work so that you're doing it right from day one, so to speak. And then if you actually really enjoy it and you decide you want to go find yourself a class or a club, you'll be off on a strong footing, right? So just a little note to start with. The target odors usually used in this kind of stuff are essential oils. And I think the most commonly used ones in dog sports are birch, anise, and clove. I feel like the one we have at home is birch, but don't quote me on that because I haven't done anything scent worky in quite a long time now. Now we use the tiniest amounts of essential oil to scent cotton buds, or I think people have done it with filters, and the dog learns to indicate where that odor is hidden to earn themselves reinforcement. So you can see how this differs a bit from the previous games because we are working with a specific scent that we train an association with, rather than just working with the food or the treats and the scent of that food itself. Yeah. And I'm sure it goes without saying, but never apply essential oils to your dog. That's not what we're doing here. And you need to be really on the ball and careful about how you handle the scents when you're doing this kind of thing and how you store everything to avoid contamination. Okay. So here's your basic budget-friendly kit list if you want to get into scent work this way, alongside your essential oils that you'll need. So first of all, cotton swabs, or I think like cigarette filters people do it with as well, and small like glass jars with tight, properly sealed lids for storage. Okay. Also, metal tins with punched holes in the top, so you can literally just use old mint tins, or you can buy vented scent vessels online. I've seen them on Amazon, certainly in the UK. They're not that expensive at all. You get like a pack of 6 or a pack of 8 or whatever on Amazon. And they're specifically designed for scent work. So if you search for scent work tins or whatever, I'm sure you'll find them. You'll also need tweezers and disposable gloves. And these are for handling hot swabs only, which means the scented ones. Okay. You'll also need your cold duplicates for practice, which means unscented swabs. So when you hear hot and cold talked about, that's what that's referring to, whether it's scented or whether it's not. And then you'll need a few cardboard boxes, plastic containers, and and obviously a couple of clean rooms to start searching in. And then it goes without saying, you'll also need some high value food or a tug toy or some kind of reward strategy. Whatever your dog lives for, basically, however you reward your dog is different for every dog, right? Now, before you crack on, some odor handling fundamentals. You really, really must keep hot gear. Remember, we talked about this. This is the scented stuff, separate from cold gear. That is really important because cross-contamination is going to ruin everything. So use dedicated tweezers or gloves for hot swabs. Store scented cotton swabs in sealed jars, clearly labeled, and then put those inside a secondary container and prepare your hides away from where you train to avoid contaminating your search area. Because you need to remember, dogs' noses are absolutely incredible. Like, we cannot comprehend the level of ability that's there, right? And the slightest little mistake or leak or cross contamination could really confuse your dog and slow down the learning process, and just cause frustration for both of you. Okay, so now you have your equipment. You've done your research on how to ensure you are using and storing your oils safely, and you're ready to get going. So let's dive into your 7-day Scentwork Kickstart plan. I will lay out like one focus session per day, literally just 5 to 10 minutes is plenty. And if your dog is buzzing, split sessions into 2 little 3-minute bursts. And remember to always end on a high. So end the session while they're still wanting more. So first up, day 1, you're going to build your kit and you're going to choose your dog's paycheck. So basically, you can think of day 1 like laying out your art supplies before you start painting your masterpiece, okay? You're going to need a few things. So grab your little bottle of birch essential oil, get some cotton buds, a small glass jar with a tight lid, and something to hold the scented cotton. An old mint tin with a few holes punched in is absolutely fine. Or like I said, you can buy a task-specific set of tins on Amazon. You're also going to want a pair of tweezers or some disposable gloves so you can handle the scented swabs cleanly without spreading the smell everywhere. And of course, you will need your dog's absolute favorite reward. And that could be teeny tiny food pieces, or if you've got a tug crazy dog, a quick tug session at the hide. And the golden rule, which I will remind you of a lot, is that rewards always happen at the source, right at the place where your dog finds the scent. That's how we make the odor itself super, super valuable to our dogs. Okay. Day 2, teach your dog how to tell you that they have found the scent. So day 2 is basically about teaching your dog their indicator, that little behavior that they choose that tells you, their handler, hey, the smell is right here. I found it. It's at this location. And you get to choose what that is. You can choose what works for you. So some people like a sit. They want the dog to sit down as soon as they find the scent. Some people prefer a nose freeze, which is when the dog, basically they'll be sniffing all around, and then when they find the scent, they just they'll stop and they'll keep their nose glued to the spot. Others teach a chin rest on the container or on the spot. I mean, my personal favorite for beginners is the nose freeze, I think, because it's natural and it's really easy to capture. So here's how you do it. Grab a clean, neutral container, so nothing scented yet. Hold it at your dog's nose height, and every time they touch it with their nose, you mark and reward right there. After a few goes, start waiting for just a second of stillness before you pay that reward, and you'll see your dog begin to realize, oh, okay, she wants me to hold my nose there. And you can just shape it up from there. Now, the important thing to remember here is that you keep these sessions super short and upbeat, literally just a handful of reps at a time, okay? Don't keep pushing it to the point where your dog gets frustrated or that you've pushed them too far too fast, so they're failing and you end on a failure. Just a few reps, a few nose touches, end the session. We want your dog to associate this training with like having a good time, being successful, feeling confident. Okay. And we're just teaching them that indicator behavior. Now, day 3 is where they get to meet the magic smell. So, day 3 is the big moment, basically. We are going to bring in the target odor. So, take your birch oil and put just 1 or 2 drops on a cotton bud, and then pop that into a sealed jar and let it sit for 10 to 15 minutes. Don't skip that bit. That way, you know you're working with a nice, consistent scent, okay? Not just like loads of wet oil. Then tuck that cotton bud into your vented tin and present the tin to your dog at nose height. And the moment they sniff it, they don't have to do anything. You just want them to experience that scent. You're going to mark and feed, or you're going to whip out that tug toy right at the tin and just do 5 or 6 little reps like that. Then you're going to make it slightly more interesting. So put the tin down on the leg of a chair or just somewhere they can see it. Release them with a little cue like search or whatever you want it to be and let them find it. When they do, as soon as they do, jackpot reward right at the tin. And this is the start of connecting that scent to the reward. Okay, now we can move on to day 4. So on day 4, things are going to start to look a little bit more like actual scent work. So on day 4, you're going to set out 5 or 6 identical containers or boxes. One will hold your hot tin, that's your scented cotton, right? And the others are completely empty. Bring your dog to a little start line just a couple of meters away. Give your search cue and then let them work and hold yourself back. Like, don't be pointing or indicating. Don't help your dog. Your job is to follow and watch. And the moment they give you that indicator behavior you've been building up, you've already been working on, you can mark and reward right at the box. And remember, keep the sessions short and mix up which box holds the scent each time. So your dog has to actually search and they're not just remembering. Now, day 5, if all is going well so far, is when we move out of the container setup and into a proper interior search. So choose a room that's as clean as possible so there's no food crumbs or lingering smells from meal times or cooking or whatever, and place one hide, that's your hot tin, somewhere accessible at your dog's nose height. Now bring them in, set them at the start line, and give your cue. And watch how they naturally crisscross or sweep around. And if your dog seems a little bit lost, you can begin to guide them by teaching them a simple search pattern, like maybe walk the room's perimeter with them and then slice across the middle. You don't really need to overthink it so much. This is just about keeping it clear and enjoyable, no pressure. And when they do find the hide, remember, jackpot them right at the source. Okay, day 6. The outdoor search or the vehicle search, we're going to up our ante. So on day 6, all going well, you are basically ready for a new environment. So you could try whatever you like. You could try the garden, the patio, a parked car. If you want to try a vehicle search first, which I probably would, just because it's easy for most of us, just make sure the car is parked somewhere totally safe, the engine is cold, and you're just going to place your tin in a really easy spot like the wheel arch or a bumper seam or something like that. Keep your dog on a lead for safety and remember to reward generously at the source. And don't worry if it feels really messy outdoors, it will at first, but your dog is learning to read the wind, and scent behaves completely differently in an outdoor environment. We can't forget that. So just know that and roll with it. Okay. And if you've enjoyed all of that so far, then you've made it to day 7. Congratulations. And day 7 is where we start building resilience and variety. So today I challenge you to do 3 little searches. Okay. A new room, a new lineup of containers, and 1 outdoor search. You can add a second hide, or even better, you can just run a blank search, which is where there's no scent at all. And whilst this will seem just like frustration at first, doing this actually teaches a really important key things our dogs need to learn here, right? Which is that sometimes the answer really is there is nothing here, which is an important skill for the future. You could also introduce one inaccessible hide, maybe like tucking the tin behind a vented object where they can't quite reach it. Again, this just helps teach your dog another key skill, in this case, that it's not about grabbing or touching the actual tin. It's about telling you, the human, where that thing is. It's the communication that is the value here. It's important to remember, though, that when you're mixing things up like this and you're adding difficulty, you should always finish on an easy win. So your dog ends the week feeling confident and they're excited and they're looking forward to their next opportunity to do this fun scent work thing with you again, because it feels so good. So I hope you found this little whistle stop tour of an introduction to scent work useful and fun. One thing I think I'd like to say, I've broken it down and I've called it day 1, day 2, day 3. You don't have to whiz through all of this in a week. It depends how much time and energy you have to dedicate to this. It depends how quickly your dog picks up on all the concepts that you're trying to teach. You could do it week 1, week 2, week 3. Don't rush your dog. Don't stress your dog. This is supposed to be enjoyable. It's supposed to be fun. So if you want to break it down much further, if you want to take it a whole lot slower, by all means, do that. I just hope, if nothing else, this episode has hammered home the point that sniff-based activities for your dog aren't just silly, cute little games. They are a legitimate mental workout that taps into neural systems for emotion and memory, which is why so many dogs truly, truly do settle far more deeply afterwards. There is peer-reviewed evidence that nose work can shift a dog's emotional state towards optimism, which I just bloody love. And compared with repetitive ball throwing, you're avoiding that repetitive joint strain that vets worry about, whilst you are still getting that glorious, contented tiredness at the end of an activity. So I think I've gone on long enough today, but if you have enjoyed this episode and you want my printable 7-day Scentwork Kickstarter checklist, you can literally grab it straight from the show notes. And if you found this episode in any way helpful, I'd love it if you shared it with a friend who you think would definitely benefit from having a calmer dog in their lives. If you loved it enough to leave a review, I would be eternally grateful. It takes about 3 seconds. Literally, it costs absolutely nothing. You don't have to log in. You don't have to do anything. You just have to click review and click your number of stars. I'm going to say it's worth 5 stars, but that's totally up to you. It really makes a difference in enabling more and more owners to just find the podcast and benefit from the free advice in it. And finally, if you do decide to give the scent work a go, share your efforts on Instagram. Tag me in your stories. I'm at Listen Dog Training, and literally nothing makes me happier. Nothing makes me happier than when I see a little tag come up and I see that I get to watch somebody teaching their dog something I've talked about, or their dog has achieved something because of something they've heard on a podcast episode. It absolutely makes my day every single time, I promise you. But for now, like I say, I've gone on long enough, so I'm going to leave you to enjoy the rest of your dog walk, and I will look forward to speaking to you again same time next week for another episode of The Walk and Talk.